ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty. I wanted to do this sketch on stream, but my tablet didn't want to work properly, so I just did a quick pencil sketch. And I'm pulling this into Illustrator, and we'll go from there. So thanks for joining me, and enjoy the stream. It should be actually drawing now. So this is basically my process. I do a quick pencil sketch, which I had hoped to do on stream in Photoshop. And actually earlier today, I have like a little tablet that I bought years ago, and I've never really used it. So I was like, okay, well this is a good opportunity for me to actually use it. And I did a test sketch of this entire cover. I had it all done, And then I didn't save it because I was like, well, I'm gonna do this on stream. I want it to be real. And then as soon as I started the stream, the tablet was so slow that I couldn't draw. Like the inputs were so delayed. So this is my 30-second Born to Run sketch that will hopefully get us most of the way there. The nice thing about working in Illustrator is that, you know, I have pretty much full control over everything even after it's done. Because it's vector, you know, everything can be tweaked. Everything is basically live, and that's what I really like about it. And then I can also make it huge if I want to, or really tiny, and there's no degradation in quality, which is pretty important, I think. Thank you for saying it looks like a scarecrow. I don't really know what that means, but I'll take it. So a little while ago, I revisited my Fleetwood Mac album cover illustration. And that was one of the first ones I did. And it's really simple. Huge Bruce Springsteen. I'll put this on a billboard for you, Nate. Yeah, so I revisited the Fleetwood Mac one, and it's really, really simple. And I kind of gotten away from that as time has gone on. I've gotten more and more detailed with my illustrations. And I think there's sort of something to be said for just keeping it simple. So I'm trying to do that with this one. I figured it would be a good first stream illustration. I also haven't quite decided if I'm gonna do a second one of this for the back cover, because it's a wraparound cover. And I think Clarence Clemens deserves the spotlight as much as Bruce does. Look at this, 3 people. Wow. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I don't know how long I'll have the mic on, but I figured I'd let everybody know what's going on. Really kicking myself that I deleted that entire illustration I did earlier. So it was pretty good. I was very happy with it. And now it's gone forever. Into the ether. Bruce Springsteen is known for his triangle head. Also, thank you, Nate. You're my hype person in this stream. When I'm not talking, is there a lot of like background noise? I have a noise gate set up, so it should be pretty quiet when I'm not talking, but if it's unbearable, I can mute. Excellent. What's the point of the background music? Keep the masses satiated. I was saying to Katie, my wife, I don't know if I need to say that, but as in, like, everybody knows who Katie is that's on the stream. Not that I don't need to say I have a wife, but I was saying to my wife that, like, I'm glad that I don't have a job where I need to talk all the time, because I don't think I could do it. And already I'm like, what, 10 minutes into this stream, 5 minutes of talking, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna say for the rest of it. Just heard on the auto captions. Should give you your transcript. So part of the reason I wanted to do these streams is, like, I've kind of figured out my process for how to do these things. But it's just kind of a mishmash of things that I've learned. So I don't know if anybody's watching and they are wondering, hey, how do I use Illustrator? How do I do this kind of stuff? Maybe this will be helpful. I don't know. I know I would have liked someone to tell me how to do this stuff when I first started out. This song is like the Law and Order theme song. If it were funkier. I don't want to get a copyright strike. Otherwise, copyright strike, not a copyright strife. Otherwise, I would have had Bruce playing, preferably the whatever remix it is, where they just say USA over and over. So basically at this point, I'm glad. Wait, that's... I think it's called the Freedom Mix. If anybody's watching this and doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a 12-inch single version of Born in the USA that is probably the funniest thing I've ever listened to. They basically put the song into like a, I don't know, like a drum machine or something so that they could make beats with him talking, and it's so bad. It's just, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, and also I don't want to sing on stream. But yeah, look up Born in the USA 12-inch Freedom Mix, and you will not be disappointed. So yeah, like I was saying, basically my process is draw the outlines of where the basic blocks of color are going to be. And then I use live paint to fill it in. And then once that's done, I go back and add Freedom Mix. Excellent. I go back and I add lines to, you know, wherever definition needs to be made, and then I add in shading. This one's going to be interesting because it is black and white, which I've done before. I did that for Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z, which was very interesting. It's an interesting sort of hurdle, because you can't really rely, well, because, you know, you have so many similar colors that you don't want to have just, especially with how I have things set up, like you don't want just lines all over. But I got it working. Hopefully this one will be alright too. But this was actually a suggestion from someone who bought a bunch of my album covers. They gave me a whole bunch of ideas for new covers. And they suggested Springsteen, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why I hadn't done Springsteen in the past. Now I am. So there you go. So yeah, trying to keep it simple with this one, partially because I did not have a lot of time to do the sketch, so I am just trying to work with what I have. And partially because of, you know, I just want to see if I can do it. See if I can make it look like the cover, but sort of a reduction. So he's got a little belt buckle coming out here. And now just adding the strap, and I would normally put the buckle right here. But I'm gonna do that all with the line work. Anything that's thin, I try to do with lines rather than color blocks. I find that works better. Nice hypothetical from Nate. Would I rather dance in the dark or be on fire? I'm gonna go with Dancing in the Dark on this one. Nate, I feel like this is the most you have ever heard me talk. I just need to be alone, not talking to someone, to talk. Right, and I think that's probably it for the basic shapes. The end of this guitar, the guitar neck looks really tiny. There we go. There we go. There's another reason I like working on vector. Boom. Bigger. Okay. So. Got the basic outlines, as I said. Just as regular strokes right now. Move it over just a little bit. Okay. So now I can hide the sketch. Select it all. And I go Object, Live Paint. Oh, and I did added this square just to set sort of like an outer boundary. So as you can see, like over here, anything that goes over the edge, the square cuts it off. Because the live paint, when you're using it, it's looking for solid shapes, basically. So anywhere that is enclosed fully, you can fill with a color. So now that I have that square and all of these strokes, I can go to Object, Live Paint, Make. What that does is with the fill tool, see, I can fill in any area here with a color. So we're working in black and white, and one of the things I've learned is to never go full black, because there's nowhere you can go from there. So usually as dark as I'll go is maybe around here. And that way, if I need to have something offset that color that's to be darker, I can use full black, but I prefer not to. So there we go. We're gonna start blocking in the dark. Okay. Go a little lighter for his beard. A light gray for the skin. I think that hand needs to get bigger. So yeah, the nice thing about the live paint is that even when you've created, you know, your blocks for the paint or your areas for the paint, you still go in and move things around. So, you know, a lot of times I'll be making an outline of something. Even if I have a really detailed sketch, I'll do an outline of it, or I'll do a sketch of it, and then I'll pull it. I'll pull it in, trace it, get to the point where I start filling in the colors, and then as soon as I turn off the lines, it doesn't work. So then I have to go in and move things around, which is, I feel like a broken record. Why I like using Illustrator so much. Okay. So do this. Maybe a little later. So normally, if I'm doing a full color illustration, I try not to use 100% white either, other than for maybe the whites of the eyes. I find that there's very few instances in real life where something is completely white. It's looking pretty muscular here. Holy moly. It's supposed to be a jacket. There we go. Okay. So I try to use minimal colors if I can, and I try to reuse colors as I am doing an illustration. Don't quite know why, but I do. I think it's just easier to keep track of everything if you're using only a handful of colors. Also, I'm not really that great with color theory, so it's just like, here's 5 colors that work. Awesome. So in the past, I've done a black and white color and then colorized it. Fleetwood Mac, I guess, is the best example of that, because that's a black and white illustration or black and white photo on a beige background, but I colored it. Same with I did Elvis Costello, My Aim Is True, and I colored it. But I've kind of seen working in black and white as a bit of a challenge to myself, so just go for it. Got a late Christmas bottle of wine. Figured I'd break into that during this stream. I might tint this later. Give it more of a sepia black and white. I don't know. I did not expect to be talking as much as I am, but I've got the microphone on. It's just like, yeah, why not? Okay. So, this is an instance where I need to go darker or lighter, but I want to go darker. So this is an instance where I need to go darker. And had I used flat black for his jacket, I'd have nowhere to go. But now I've got a little bit of wiggle room. So I can come in here, fill that in. I don't know if there's going to be enough color separation there. So this might be a situation where I actually use flat black. Which but moments ago I said I would never do. It's a, it's a Trius Merlot. My former employer at Hillebrand. I worked there for a summer. It was a good job. I was a bartender, but like, not a bartender. Because it wasn't a bar where people could come up and sit. It was, okay, you're back here. You're gonna pour the wine into glasses and we'll take them out. And then you wash the glasses and no one will ever see you or talk to you. And you get a percentage of tips. It was great. What color am I gonna make these? Part of the reason I'm talking so much is that my hotkeys to mute and unmute are not working for whatever reason in OBS, which is the software I use for streaming. At least on a Mac. I don't know if it's like this on PC. Just doesn't accept hotkeys from outside of the application. So if I'm in OBS and I press my hotkey to mute and unmute, it will work. But anytime I'm in another application, like say drawing, it will not work. Yeah, that's pretty good for flats. Just for fun, let's duplicate that. And we'll do browns. Yeah, we'll do browns instead of blacks and see how that works. So I know this is the darkest part, so I'm gonna do that first, because then I know everything is lighter than that. I'm learning. I'm a neural net processor, a learning computer. See, I used like 5 colors, and I can fill them all in real easy. Real easy like. The one thing that is annoying about Live Paint is that you really need to keep on top of where all of your lines are. I don't know if you saw this little tiny triangle right here. Fill it in for you. This little bugger right here those will pop up everywhere if you are doing like freehand. So you got to make sure that you go through and review everything. You've like zoomed in to be able to see all the little bits where you might have missed. Nate, yes, he is leaning on Clarence. The back of the... Well, let me pull in a picture here. I have the ability. Born to Run album. Pull it in the back. This is the full. Where? Like, just a cool cover. Couldn't ask for more. Okay. So we're gonna go a light browny gray. Yeah, I think I like this better, even though it's... I missed it. Yeah, it's not as album accurate, but I think I like this better. And then I can do sort of a light orangey white background. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. A lot of, you know, taking it in as a whole. Taking it in as little pieces. Seeing where you can make it better. So the first batch of these I did for my son before he was born, and because we wanted to put some stuff on his walls for his nursery. So we did a set of 12. And that was 8 years ago, because I did it before he was born. Did not see that as being the thing I do the most 8 years later. But hey, you know, you never know where stuff will take you. Yeah, I like the Browns a little better. Speaking of the Browns, playoffs, baby. Congratulations to our friends in Cleveland. You did it. You finally got over that hill. Alright. So, Now that I got the flats done, I'm just gonna name my layer. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into strokes or lines. And these, a lot of them I do freehand with a mouse, which is probably not the best way to do this, but I've been using a mouse to draw for so long that it's the easiest way for me to do it. I'd really hoped that tablet would be able to assist, but again, I should, if you eagle-eyed viewers that maybe were here right at the beginning might have seen the very slow circles being drawn in Photoshop. Yeah, that did not work well. Anyways, so yeah, like I said, these lines are all going to be either small details that I don't want to, that don't need a color block. So like he has a necklace on here. Or they're just to separate similar color blocks. Where should this go? Yeah, it seems good. So like right here, the arm right now is just one big mass, but I want to show that this is I'm gonna make these bigger so everyone can see it better. Oh, and I'm on the wrong layer. Good. Okay. I feel like I do that most out of anything. It's just accidentally draw on a wrong layer. Okay, so we'll do 2 points there. So everything's gonna be pink just so that you can see it, and I do this while I'm drawing as well, just so that I can see what I have done, and then I will go back. I'll add a brush to the lines. To give them sort of like a more painterly paintbrush type look. And then I'll blend them in more by making them sort of similar in color to the background color. Okay. So yeah, any wrinkles in clothes I'll do, especially in the hair. I will do lots of swoops. One thing that I did a lot more in the first batch that I've sort of gotten away from is having lines that extend out of the color. And I don't quite know why I stopped. I think I don't know. It used to be I would only do a few lines, so it made sense maybe more. Or maybe the shapes weren't as defined, so it was like I wanted to show I don't know what I'm trying to say. I wanted to show more shapes with the strokes, but I've been adding more detail to the color blocks so that strokes are not as necessary. unless we're talking about the band, they are very necessary. Am I open to commissions for my next stream? I am. Is it Matthew? Matt. Yeah, man, send me a text. So yeah, I kind of go overboard at the start, and a lot of times I'll end up removing them because they just end up being sort of superfluous or unnecessary. Usually by this point, because I've been using reference for the color blocks, sort of stop looking at reference at this point, because it's like it's not the picture anymore that I'm basing this off of. This is my thing now, you know? It's like, if I want to put a line here, and that's not on the album cover, that's what I'm gonna do. Yes, thank you, Math. Thank you all for joining me for the stream. This is very nice. What do you think of my little interface I have here? I drew my little running man today. Quite proud of him. I haven't done animation in a long time. Alright. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it always amazes me how much just adding these lines makes the illustration much more clear. See, there's a little triangle I missed. I hate these little triangles. Boom. So those of you that, I'm glad you love my little running man. Thank you, Katie. This is a similar process to what I do for all of my like downtown prints. Little illustrations I do of buildings. You know, but rather than doing color blocks, because with this I'll try and reduce the amount of areas of color and just do the basic outline of you know, where things could be. With those, when I'm doing when I'm setting up the live paint, I'm basically adding lines for any possible area where there could be, you know, a different shade or a shadow or a line on a building. Because with that, you know, with this, I'm using a limited palette, but not as limited as I am with that. With that, I'm basically using 3 colors, with the third being just the one on top of the other. So there's a lot more back and forth with setting the colors because I have so few colors to work with. So like, I don't want the piece to be huge blocks of just one color. So I try and break it up more with shadows and stuff, which I do in the live paint because I don't really do any of these strokes. So it's sort of like half of this process, but I take twice the time with that half. We're getting coming along here. For the longest time, the biggest issue I had in drawing was remembering what side of the hand the thumb needed to go on. But I still need to check it. And I feel like, you know, it eventually gets ingrained in you, but like, it's like I knew everything I learned in terms of drawing, it's basically from comic books, so it's like, that's how Jack Kirby drew a hand. And it's just a rectangle coming out of a square and with a bunch of other rectangles coming out of it. But what side does the thumb rectangle come out of? So the issues I was having with the tablet earlier, I'm assuming, are because the tablet allows for pressure sensitivity, which I guess is a quite memory intensive. I don't know, but yeah, because like I'm drawing with the pencil in Illustrator, which is fine. But then when I tried drawing with the mouse, because it's just, I guess, like on or off. But when I tried doing it with the tablet, it was not having it. How many people we got here? 3 people. We had 4 at one point. Mamma mia. So yeah, this is way more lines than I normally would do, but if we take a look at Clarence Carter's shirt, it's a lot of lines. So just kind of go for it, you know? So one thing that I've added every time I make a cover, I sort of try something new, because, you know, you never know what will end up being part of your process going forward, you know? So one of the things that I've been doing as of late is, because I use basically like a fake brush texture for all of these strokes to make them look more painterly, like I said. but the ends are squared off, which I didn't really like. In some instances it's fine, but most of the time I didn't like it. So what I'll do after I add the stroke, I'll show you, is there's the ability in Illustrator to change the profile of your strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a guitar. Okay. So I'll change the profile so that the ends are tapered. And I find that adds a really nice look. One, two. So here's another tool I use a lot, Illustrator, and I'll show you. So you got 2 lines, and it doesn't have to be 2 lines, you get 2 shapes. And you want to blend them together. So like I want to have 4 lines in between these 2 evenly spaced so that I have 6 total. So we'll go into blend options, specified steps. I want 4 because it doesn't count the 2 that are already there. Okay, object, blend, make. And there we go. So now we have 6 perfectly perfectly spaced lines, and it's that's what I wanted. It's great. And the blend tool can be used for a lot. One of the things I've been doing lately is I'll just do a quick demo here. Let's say I want to do like a 3D shape. So in my... Oh, thanks for coming, Nate. I appreciate it. In my interface here, I've got like a little drop down or a little shadow box around the Illustrator window. So what I do is I'll make a box with a stroke around it, and then I'll copy that, bring it down, and if I do blend, but instead of specified steps, I do specified distance, and make it 1 pixel, and blend it. It will fill it in. And then I can move this bottom one anywhere I want. So yeah, I've been using that a lot lately. Anywho. Let's connect these up. Ooh. Just did some. Sorry about the noise. Add in some extra lines here. Derek, thank you. My friend just messaged me and told me that doesn't have a YouTube account, but he likes the guitar. So, thank you very much. Okay. So I'll do one here. One up here. I think that should do it for the strokes. So, here's what we're gonna do. This is where the magic happens. Okay, so I select all the strokes. I gotta load my brush library. So I use the Retro Supply Co., I believe. I don't know how you say this word. Gouache. I always say gouache, but I don't think that's correct. Gouache? Anyways. They have an Illustrator brush pack, and that is what I use literally for everything. And it is amazing. So, I have now taken all these strokes and made them fancy. I find that these brushes are a little thick, so I usually cut this size in half. I'm gonna go 0.5 instead of 1 point. And let me drag this over here. So this is the stroke window. And you don't see this unless you have all the options open. And this is the one I use. Gouache. Awesome. Good to know. Wow. My friends are sending me pictures of like a viewing party. Mamma mia. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Derek. Alright, so this is the one I use. Now if I deselect here, bring this back over where I want it. So you can see, all these lines taper off into nothing. And it's perfect. It's exactly what I want. Alright. So now I'm gonna start choosing colors for these. So typically, like what I did with the flats or with the live paint, I try not to use too many colors, and I try and reuse them as much as I can. So okay, let's do the strings first because they are going to need to be hidden a little bit because they need to go under the hand. So we will make that. We'll make them this color. 0.5. Yeah, I'm gonna make them even thinner. There we go. That. Yeah. So now I'm going to create a transparency mask. Oh, here's something I do a lot, especially when I'm shading, but I can do it in this instance too. So because I have live paint, and I have basically a working outline and fillable outline of every colored area, I can use that to make a transparency mask. So right now I'm in the transparent, so I created a, these are the strings, created a transparency mask. And when you double click on that, you're able to edit the mask. So what I can do is I can paste the entire live paint in here and fill it completely with like flat black, so full black. So now nothing is filled in. Then using the live paint bucket, you can go in with white and fill in the areas that I want it to show up. And there we go. Now it's completely underneath the hand and it's nice and tight to the illustration that I did, or to the live paint, without me having to draw anything else. It's pretty handy. So now that those are done, I can do everything that is not them. Because everything that is not them doesn't need to be cut off anywhere. Okay. Thank you everyone sending me pictures of you watching this. I very much appreciate it. And I'm sorry if there is mic noise when I pick up things. Okay. Select. So I want to darken these up a little bit. I want to darken all of them up, but they're not in a group. So if you select one, go to select, same, stroke color. Now all of them are selected, and I can. There we go. Beautiful. Greater. Okay. Let's do the hair next. So typically, for the hair, I will go lighter than the base color, whereas for everything else, I tend to go darker. I don't have a particular reason for that, but whatever. I'm sure I have a reason subconsciously, but there we go. I might revisit that, but for now, that'll do. Will this work here? Yeah. Okay, so these I can do the same color as well. Beautiful. Okay. Anything on white? We will do skin color. So I'm sure there's a way, or maybe there isn't, but I wish there was a way for me to set presets for a brush. Because, like, anytime I do a line with this brush, it will default to 1 pixel or 1 point stroke size and not tapered, and then I have to go in and manually change it to whatever, 0.5, and then I wish there was a way for me to say, okay, when I select this brush, this is how I want it to look, and these are all the options I want. And I'm sure it's out there, because I have not done any looking into that, but, I'm a very lazy man. Okay. So make these the same as this. Maybe not. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay. So now we're on to the jacket. These can go pretty much to black. There we go. I know I said I usually make the hair lighter, but I think in this instance I'm gonna go darker. Yeah. I think these need to be bigger. Tapering's nice, but then when you do it, if you have a really short line, it basically disappears. Okay. Oh, missed a pink. Okay, we're almost done the 2 of 3 parts that are required. So now I've got everything except for his sweater, and that's the only stuff left that's pink. So I can select all that, same stroke color, and there we go. I think that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Alright, so last step, shading. We're going to be using the little trick I showed with the live paint for transparencies quite a bit, because this is how I do it. So I'll take this, that color, I'll darken it a little bit, and then draw a line. And then these are still part of the same brush library, but they are bigger. Move that there. Go in, create a transparency for it. Just fill in these areas. There we go. So there's a bunch of different brushes that I can use. This is the one I use most of the time. It's got the least raggedy edge, although in some instances I will use this one. But I find that I will shrink that down to smaller. I can't really see it. It doesn't matter. This is only information that is interesting to me. But you're watching it. This is like therapy. Okay. So we did that one. I need to do all of the skin. I usually just go a hair darker for shadows. I don't really do highlights unless it's like unless it feels like the illustration needs it. Just trying to keep it simple, you know? His hand is going to be very similar in color to that sweater. Might have to change the color of that sweater. That's why I love Illustrator so much. I can just do it. It's boom. It'll be done here. Flats. Select that color. Make it a little darker. Boom. We got a darker sweater. Okay. Back to this. Ta-da. So yeah, basically at this point what I'm doing is I'm filling in where I want the shadows to appear over top of everything. And then I go in and finesse it with the transparency. The one thing I have found using this method is it makes just massive files. Half a gig for an Illustrator file, which is not great. So if I'm working on a big file, at this step, usually what I'll do is once I'm done, I'll rasterize all of the shading, so then it's not, which is not ideal, but if I'm done, I don't like to revisit stuff all that much. So if I'm done, I'll rasterize it, and that'll allow me to shrinks down the file size, but it makes them not editable anymore. So it's kind of like a, catch-22. I don't know if it's a catch-22. So transparencies, if you want to add transparency to multiple items, they need to be grouped first. So I just grouped all of those. Now we are in the transparency, of course. So when I'm working on this stuff, I try not to copy or paste anything, because I use copy and paste for pasting the live paint into the transparency. And then if I copy something else, I gotta do it. It literally slows me down like 15-20 seconds, but time is money, baby. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think I'm gonna make this a little bit darker. Also, the nice thing about using transparency for this is you can then go in. So like I'm going into the group, and I can move the items individually, which will not affect the mask. There we go. Yeah, I think I can go even a little darker. Maybe not. Alright, that's good. Okay, but now this necklace is blending in. So we'll change the necklace to that, but now that stroke is too dark. So we will change that to this. There. Balance restored. How we doing here? How many people we got? Holy moly, 3 people. What a day. Okay, so I do want to put a shadow underneath the neck here, but I couldn't do that all in the same group because the line or the shading would show up in the I should probably have my mouse showing for this, eh? Holy moly. Okay, let me turn that on. Maybe. I don't think I can. Oh well. I'm sure I can. Anyways. On the face, if I were to draw, like if I draw a line down here, add this, I want it to be just underneath the beard. But you can see it comes up on top of the face, and I wouldn't want it up there because it just copied something. God damn. Okay. Because there wouldn't be a shadow on the bottom of the face, because I've already got a shadow on the top of the face. So this one is going to be on its own. Copied something, so I got to recopy the live paint. Select this, create a mask, paste that in, and now I can add this in. Beautiful. Okay. Move that up just a little bit. Nice. Okay. So that's the skin. Let's do this guitar. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna do something like this. Move that up because I actually want to cover quite a bit of the guitar with this. You know what? I'm gonna do one of these so we get a little bit of shadow up there too. I feel like every time I say something, I immediately contradict it. But yes, I am putting shadows at the top and the bottom of this because you only live once, you know? Put your shadows where you want, people. There's no light in this illustration. It's an illustration. You put shadows wherever you want. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. Go there. Now we're going to do one of these. So the one thing that is a little annoying is I use the base colors for determining what my shadows will be. Once you start getting all of these strokes in here with the shading, anywhere it is visible will select that line if you mouse over it, even with the eyedropper, so it'll start grabbing the colors that you've used in other shadows rather than the color underneath, which is what you want. Okay, so right now that's the same color. I'm going to darken that up. Beautiful. Okay. So we're getting in the home stretch here. Thank you all of you who have tuned in. I find that I have a lot of trouble with motivation. Oh. And doing these over a stream where it's like, I'm going to be here at this time and I'm going to draw a picture for you helps quite a bit because it basically puts like a gun to my head a proverbial. And even if no one showed up, and I'm sure after this one, this will be it. But yeah, it helps. It's like, yep, I'm setting this time, and I'm going to draw. Okay, let's do the hair. So I think the hair shadow will be the same color shadow as the guitar, because I think they're the same color. That's about right. I should do 1984 by Van Halen. Which one is that? Is that... Oh, that's like the smoking cherub baby. I'm sure I could do that. Yeah, I don't think every time I'm gonna do an album cover, I'd like to... I feel like the album covers have the most appeal. But I have another series of downtown, or like St. Catharines illustrations I want to do. So I might do those on a stream. Okay. So I think this is why I always do the hair strokes lighter. Because once I add shading, you can't see them. Told you I had a reason, just couldn't remember. Okay, let's lighten these up. Yeah, that works. Okay. So the one thing I do for all of my illustrated album covers is give little rosy cheeks. Because they're cute little people. So there's an illustrator, a smoking baby. Thanks, Johnny. There's an illustrator named Andrew Cobb, Kolb, assuming it's Cobb. But he's the reason I started doing these, and him and I have chatted back and forth. Since then, he's a super nice guy. But he did an illustration of Pet Sounds. He does sort of like mid-century classic illustration, children's book illustration stuff. Although his style has changed quite a bit as well. He's an incredible illustrator, and you should check him out on Instagram if you are not familiar with his work. But he did an illustration of Pet Sounds for a gallery show in LA or something, where there was people doing art based off of album covers. And I saw that, and I loved it so much. I was like, why I can probably do something like that. So that kind of got the ball rolling. And he had rosy cheeks on everyone. So, there we go. Thank you, Andrew. These rosy cheeks are for you. It sounded really creepy. It was not meant to. How do you do rosy cheeks on a black and white drawing? Would they be lighter? I guess they would. Okay. So yeah, when I'm making an illustration, I basically have 3 layers. I've got the flats, which is the live paint layer. I've got directly on top of that, I have the shading, which I'm just naming right now, and then I've got the strokes on top of that. I gotta tell you, those 3 layers serve me well. They've gotten me through a lot. Alright, so we're going to add some shading to Clarence's arm here. Yeah, I did Instagram Live for my pixel art streams, and those made sense because it's like Instagram Live has a 1 hour maximum time limit, and that's usually I'm doing about 10. That takes me about an hour. So it made sense. But for this, I wanted to do longer form. I wanted to do beginning to end working on an illustration. I don't know if it'll always be like that, but at least at this time, that's son of a gun. Copied something again. That's what I wanted to do with these. So I figured YouTube would work. I was thinking about Twitch, but it's like I know how to go to Twitch, but I feel like if you say go to Twitch to a lot of people, it's like you're speaking Greek, you know? So it's like I'll do YouTube. I'll give myself a little channel icon, and so I did that today. I'm still on holiday, which is nice. So I had some time. I had to be downstairs anyway because Mike started school again. So I was downstairs beside him while he was working, and I was just making a little animation of me running. And getting everything ready. Putting together this little interface for the stream. I think technically this shadow should be under Springsteen's arm, because like that's what would be casting the shadow. You know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna make it a shadow. We're gonna make it a highlight. Beat the system. There we go. Okay. Okay. Add another one. Here. So I was running tests on this earlier, just to make sure everything was working. And like, I'm only sitting at 30% CPU, so I didn't expect there to be any issues. That tablet thing kind of came out of left field, but whatever, this works. I just wanted to get better at it, you know? Oop. Okay. Now we're gonna do a jacket. What should I do? Should do. Yeah, that'll work. I didn't want to run into another situation like I did with the hair. Okay. So there. Running down. I forgot to add the belt buckle. Jeez. Getting sloppy in my old age. Okay. Let's do these first. Group those. Might need to lighten up that guitar strap a little bit now that I'm adding shadows. But it's all part of the process. Okay. Do the legs. Top of the arm. There, okay. So these are some situations where I'm gonna have to modify the transparency a bit, because even with the live paint, it's not gonna give me the look I'm looking for. Okay, so let's group these. So the live paint will get us like 75% of the way there, but there are some things that I will want to change. For instance, here, I don't want the shadow on the jacket collar. So we'll fill this in with white. Or black, I mean. Black will hide it. There we go. Okay. I think we gotta do so you can even bring in the brushes in the transparency. It's like I don't want a solid edge here. I want it to look feathered. Some instances I want a solid edge, like right here. I want to hide the shadow off of this part of the arm, because that already has a shadow. Okay. There. I think move this up a little bit. So I want a little bit more separated, yeah. This one, same deal. I want it to go a little bit under the, yeah, under the collar there, but not all the way. Okay. And then over here, I want the shadow to end where I have this curve happening. Also, I think I have two different colors of jacket shadow, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay. Yeah, two different colors. There, that's better. Boy, the Raptors are gonna suck this year, eh? Holy moly. They beat the Knicks, which is nothing to celebrate. There have been a lot of losses since then. I think I gotta darken this up a little bit. Like I said, this belt, the guitar strap, needs to lighten up a little bit. So yeah, at this point, it's not I would not say it's accurate to cover much at all. I mean, it's close, but it's not, it's kind of its own thing. Okay, what have I missed? Gotta do his beard. And probably the guitar neck. That should be it. And then I got one last thing I like to do to make it look like an album cover. Okay, so beard. So I've been using an app called Pretzel for the music, and it's all royalty-free, attribution-free music for streamers. It's pretty great. It's You can turn off any talking as well, like any songs with talking in it. I just listen to the lo-fi station, because that's all I want to listen to. Most of those don't have talking in them, but occasionally you do, and it can be kind of spooky when you're sitting alone in a room and then you just start hearing talking. Okay, do that, and I'll do a little bit under the nose. Okay. I did it again. Copied something. See, it adds up. Okay. Do this beard. Yeah, as you can see, with all this shading, it's starting to chug a little bit. But we're almost done, so I'm not gonna rasterize at the end. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do is this guitar neck. So I'm going to get this color. We're gonna go lighter. Okay. We're just gonna run all the way down. I think this is what I want. Is that gonna blend into the hand too much? Don't know. There is shading on the hand now, so it might actually work out quite nicely. Yeah, that worked out well. Okay. Okay, one last shading. I find that if I don't do it everywhere, it sticks out to me. So these little knobs at the bottom of the guitar and like the bridge don't have anything on it. They probably don't need anything, but because they don't have anything, when I look at it, that's all I can see. It's flat color. Okay. What is going on here? So we're just gonna... I have not saved yet. I should really save. Okay. Da-da. Gotta make a new folder. You know, I had one called Winter 2020. I'll just put it in there or whatever. Oh, it's 2021. Now we're down to one viewer. Wait, I can't expect people to stay fully tuned in for multiple hours of me just rambling and drawing. Alrighty. Saving. Yeah, God. This takes a long time with all this shading. More time to drink. Hooray! Okay. We're gonna do one line right through the middle here. That should shade the top and bottom. It's not the color I want. Okay. There we go. Go a little darker. Even darker than that. I think I gotta shrink that just a little bit. There. Boom, 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 boom. There. A little bit of shading on everything. Okay. So that is the illustration. And then the last thing I like to do on all of these, well, ones that have a very plain background, is I will make a new layer on top of the background. Go a little bit lighter. And then make a circle that's bigger than the bigger than the illustration, but like not completely, like it just overlays the edges. Then I will add the fancy brush to it, take out, fill in the middle. I usually make this a little bit bigger too. And there we go. So it just gives a little bit, makes it look like it has a little bit of wear. Might do this. Might do it a little darker rather than a little lighter. Man, everything's chugging. I'm glad I'm at the end. Okay. Just a titch darker than the background. There we go, that's perfect. And then we will increase the size. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Well, thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna say that's a pretty good way to end the stream. Started with technical difficulties and ended with a pretty nice illustration. So I'm gonna upload this as a time lapse at some point, and then the finished illustration. But those of you that were here, the one person who is still here, who I'm assuming it's either Johnny or Katie, but regardless, thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great night, everyone.